So this is a quick look at accessorizing Napoleon's Imperium with some outside components. I brought a whole lot of 3/4 inch the Litko 3/4 inch holders. My idea was to place all the commanders within them so you could see the commanders easy on the map. So it was good in theory. So I trialed this prior to actually receiving Napoleon's Imperium in the mail from Compass, simply by printing out some cardboard, so printing out some little paper images, and it seemed to work fairly well. So if you look at the Litko counters, they're quite good. You assemble them, you put the two pieces together. They're a little bit hard to assemble. You have to be careful you don't snap them, but in theory it was going to be reasonable. So that is, all the counters are laying flat on the map, but you'll see your commanders, so you'll see where the influence will be on the map. However, as you will see, it's not as practical as what I had anticipated on that. So I could still use them, certainly, with the thin coloured printout, if I was willing to go to the expense of printing out each one and putting it on paper. However, the counters, you will note, are a lot thicker. So here is a counter. It's the Prussian Commander, and it's a lot thicker. And generally all the Compass counters, they're very good quality, but the legacy of a good quality counter is that they are quite thick. So I just unloaded a whole bunch here, and we're going to see what they look like when I try to put one of these into my 3/4 inch stand. So right now I have here we have a Ottoman Commander and the Ottoman Counter. So this commander is just that I printed out on thin paper. You see it's really rather thin. So when I go to slip it into a counter, and I'm doing this one-handed, so give me, it'll fit quite fine. And if it's printed on the back, which the counters are, you'll have the same image on front and back, and that'll be quite fine. But let's try to do the same thing now with one of the Compass counters, which are good quality, thick counters. I really love the feel of them, and we try to do the same thing. So I'm just going to adjust this, trying to do it one-handed while filming. As you can appreciate, it's a little bit hard, so I'll just open it a little bit with my fingers first and pop this in. Now you have a slight problem. Can you see that? On the sides they split apart, so you can't actually get the counter in to sit, and you want your counters to be aesthetically nice on the map, so that is not going to do. I will not recommend doing that, though I think in one article I do recommend getting these particular stands, which is a great idea. Certainly it's not bad when you're just doing a simple thin printout. Fits very well, looks quite nice, but with the Compass counters, with their quality being nice and thick, they do not actually fit very well into these stands. So maybe that's a fail on that case. If you want to go to the expense that I have, yeah, certainly you can do it that way, but otherwise with the counters, probably it's not much use to buy all of the stands. So these are the battle cards for Napoleon's Imperium, And I just wanted to show you if you want to sleeve those, which I'm intending to do now, to put sleeves on my battle cards. So I've just purchased a Pro Fit sleeves. I just purchased these off Amazon, and the actual size is the standard size, 64mm by 89mm, and I think you'll find they will fit very snug. So I'll take one of the French cards and we'll just pop it in there, and you see it just slides nice and easy. You have to apply a little bit of force at the end just to get it up to the edge, but it's a perfect fit right along. So that's a good fit if you're going to sleeve the cards. So here's some that I've already done earlier. You'll see they fit quite nicely, and they protect your cards very nicely. So that is you'll need, so there's 160 battle cards, and there's another 80 battle point cards. So that's 240 sleeves that you'll need. So that's 3 packs, and you'll have some spares, and that if you're going to do that. So that's it for sleeving. To bag or to box with Napoleon's Imperium, the standard size box that it comes in. My recommendation would probably be to bag. I've got various sides of little boxes, and I've tried all the different scenarios. This one you'll see all the counters. Now this is not true, because these are counters that I did as part of the prototype to the game, so they're actually just thin paper pieces. They're not like a like one of the counters that are associated with the actual game, because they are a lot thicker. So if I say compare to one of my counters in the box here, here's the counter. You can see that's quite thick, and this is quite small in my prototype. So this box is not going to cut it. I won't be able to do several of these into the box. They won't work. Again, there are something like 760 counters in this game, so you're going to need more than one box to actually fit them all in there, and then going to be hard to take out. The bigger boxes, certainly you won't be able to fit something like this into the game, because it will take up all of your space. So it's going to be very hard to do a bigger box. My recommendation is just to stick with the bags. As you can see, that game is quite full. Now I've been creative. I've made my own little box here on the inside, and in that box I just keep some more counters, and I've got the battle point cards within my little box that I created, just to be a little design, a little add-on. But other than that, it's going to be very full, and probably bagging is the way to go for Napoleon's Imperium. To laminate or not to laminate? That is the question. Okay, with Napoleon's Imperium, so obviously you get the very large paper mat. Now, if you do choose to laminate, this is a 2-part series. I'm only going to open one here just to give you an idea of the size. I would probably keep it paper with the plexi over, which is what I've chosen to do. But if you do decide to laminate, I would certainly recommend you go to a matte finish laminate, so you don't have all of the reflection. You get a bit of the reflection when you put Perspex glass over anyway. So I would probably recommend you stay with a matte laminate if you do, and put it in a roll like I've demonstrated before. But there are things that in the game that I would certainly recommend you could laminate. For instance, here's the counter sheets. I've chosen to laminate them. Probably I would have maybe chosen to go with a matte. I've actually got a gloss laminate, but had I chosen again, I would have gone for a matte laminate. But that just keeps that in good order, and I can guarantee this, if you've got a good laminate, that'll keep it in order for years and years, because I've got some that go 30 years back and are still in good order. Here's all your reference cards, and I have laminated those as well, and that'll keep them in good order for years to come. So yes, I've laminated some of the reference cards. Obviously there's things you can't. The weather chart, you won't be able to laminate that, but that's on a nice size board and it just folds out, so you won't be laminating that. You just keep it in good order in your box, at the bottom of the box, and that should be fine. So they're the things, as I've already demonstrated with the cards and the sleeves. That's a personal choice. So this is the General Ultratech tweezers. So they work quite good, particularly if you've got dark background, so you can reach over and grab any counters. They pick up very well with these nice thick counters, which is good, and even so you can get them easily. Straight off the plastic is a bit harder, but easy enough. So this is Napoleon's Imperium counters. I just wanted to show you just a little bit about the clipping, because they're fairly tight registrations. As you can see around the counters, the symbol, the lettering, goes right to the corners. So I'm going to do a 2mm clipping around. So I've set up some counters that I'm about to clip. This is a deluxe clipper. It's got the plastic handle, and it's 2mm. So we're going to do some 2mm and we'll see what comes out. So you're placing just nice hard into the clipper, and then when you've got it in there, just a nice clip, and you're going to go all the way around. Nice clip all the way around. 4 cuts for each clip. Now with Napoleon's Imperium there's 780, so that's the result right there. So let's have a look. We'll have one that's not clipped and one that's clipped, so I'll clip a French counter. It's just a little simple clip. Now these are fairly thick counters too, so there's a bit of a click to it. And by the time you get to about 780, you'll probably have a bit of an ache in the hand. So you could do it in a couple of sessions. But there's not a great deal of difference. It just adds that nice rounded corner. Maybe that one I could do a little bit more. Adds a nice little rounded corner to your edge. It just takes that little dogtail off the edge of your counters. I would even go as far to say that you could probably get away with a 2.5mm, even up to a 3mm. I've gone for a 2mm because you see the flags in the bottom right hand corner. They're a little bit close. Here's the hourglass. The hourglass counter is the counter you use to go up your timeline. So that is from 1798 to 1815. This moves every time each player has had a full turn. So that comes out really rather nicely. You can see from all these clippings I've done a lot of counters already, but they just give this little fine amount of clipping. So here's the Spanish. I'll clip around. Again, get it nice up. once you've got the hang of it, you can move actually quite quickly, but I'm doing this under camera, so I'm actually not seeing part of the clipper as I'm doing it. But they come quite nicely out. So these are the ones with the tight registration. They're the ones that have that border around to represent, the orange representing its 2 counters and the blue representing its 5 counters. Just taking the edges off, and you can see it's not interfering in any way the wording on the counter, so it's fairly good to go. It just feels nice. Already the counters feel very nice in hand, being a nice thick counter. I've heard some of the thicker counters are a little bit harder to use for the non-deluxe versions, but this is the deluxe clipper and it works quite fine. Here's one of the fleets, the 4, and right around, and they just add that little bit extra of neatness to your game when you've got them all done. So I encourage you, they don't need it because they're actually a fine counter, very thick. They sit quite well on the table, as you've seen in other videos. But if you want, just to make it that little bit more deluxe, you can just run around each counter and give it just that nicer feel. Certainly I quite enjoy and like the look of it. I like my game to look quite smart when it's set up, and the every piece is a bit of a celebration to me, so I like to put it in. So then if you look up there, I'll just take this up now.